Hey guys, Tate here. In this video I'm going to give a little tutorial on how to go from crow to handstand. So crow to handstand was the first press that I learned. I find it, not for my body and for some bodies, it's the easiest press for people to get, because for one, your feet are already lifted, so you're not going all the way from the ground all the way up. But two, you can also keep everything compact so your center of gravity is a little bit lower. The couple things with the crow to handstand that happens is when we press down, just like in our crow, our elbows want to go out. And it's especially true when we start to press down to lift the hips up. Our elbows want to turn, they want to bend a little bit. So a couple things that can help with that is a strap here. With the strap, you'll want to take it shoulder width distance or slightly narrower. And the reason why we want it slightly narrower is because then it doesn't allow our elbows to flare out. And when our elbows flare out, the key component to stabilizing yourself in a handstand or an arm balance, the lats and the serratus on the side body, it's really hard when the elbow's out here to engage them to keep the elbows in. So when the elbows are in, we can continue to squeeze and stabilize ourselves, the serratus and the lats on the side body. So that's why we want the strap to be no wider than shoulder width distance. Again, maybe slightly narrower. Here, that's still a little bit wide, so let me bring it in a little bit closer. But as you can see, when I'm setting up my arms in my plank or my crow pose, I can't get my elbows to bend wide. So I can still hug my serratus and my lats in, I can still keep them fired up. Now the one thing I don't like about the strap, and don't get me wrong, I do think the strap is a useful tool, I used it to learn how to crow press, is that I don't want to say it makes you lazy, but what it does is it makes you rely on the strap to keep the elbows in, rather than using the serratus and the lats to squeeze and keep the elbows in. So what I've been recommending to my students is using a heavy duty or an extra heavy duty resistance band. And the reason for this is that one, it keeps the elbows in, but it still has some give to it. So what that does is the elbows still can flare out. And so you have to use the lats and the serratus to keep the elbows in so you can find the stack of elbows, shoulders, wrists. Now I'm not going to use the strap for the demo or the tutorial, but if you want to use a strap, again, I learned how to press first with the strap and then I took it off. Another key component is people try to extend their legs up before their hips are stacked over the shoulders, before the knees are stacked over the hips. So what I recommend first is just keeping the heels into the butt, getting the hips over the shoulders, getting the knees over the hips, and then extending the legs up, and I'll show that here. So when we set it up, it's just like crow. Wrist creases parallel to the top of the mat. Elbow creases hug in. Squeeze the lats and the serratus to keep the elbows squeezing in. Knees high and wide up on the triceps. Get them into the armpits as much as possible. Belly pulls in, heels into the butt. I'm going to press into my hands. I'm going to draw my belly in. I'm going to lift my knees off. Get my hips up. See, I keep my heels into my butt. Stack my knees. And then I engage my quads to straighten my legs out. And then to come back down. Knees into chest, chest forward, just like coming from down dog to crow. Set the knees down gently, set the feet down. So again, it's really light actually once you find the stack of hips over the shoulders, but it's the key things that people lose first is they lose the elbows, they lose the lats and the serratus. You keep those hugged in, you get the hips up, then it's pretty easy to press yourself up with stacked joints. Now, when I'm talking about people pressing up too early, which gets them caught up, it's extending the legs before the hips are up, so it's kind of more like you're pressing from crow to a pike press and up. So for example, I'll show what not to do. So when I'm here, what you see a lot is people coming here, they bring the heels into the butt, which is good, but then when their hips are here, they start extending the legs, and with the legs extended, they go backwards, which makes it a lot more difficult because you're trying to carry all this weight here instead of straight up and down, okay? So give it a go, use the strap, get a resistance band if you don't have the resistance band. Keep working at it. Again, think stacking joints, hips over shoulders before you try to extend the legs. Let me know what you think. Namaste.